What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am at Oak Ridge Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois, in Chicago. And, well, I've been working on this video for a while now. I've run into some problems with trying to find the graves of the people I'm looking for and giving some wrong information, directions, but that was corrected by the people who worked at each place that I'm going. Very, very sweet to help me out. And this is a tough story. There's no getting around that. There's going to be opinions shared in the comments, I think, on both sides, and maybe some harsh ones. I get it, but just well, we'll get into the story of what I'm talking about, but maybe just when you hear the story, just be respectful in the comments. I'll read everything, and we'll, it's a story I really want to tell, and I think there's more than one victim, and I think they both have to be remembered. So here I am, looking for the grave of an 11-year-old boy, and I've just recently found out that the grave is unmarked. I was looking for a headstone. I was told there was a headstone. There is not. I'm in generally the right area. So when I was out here the other day looking for a good hour and a half, kind of says why I didn't find Robert Yummy Sandifer's headstone. 11 years old, he doesn't have one. We're going to call him Yummy. His nickname was given to him because of his love of cookies. As we look, I'm going to tell you about Yummy's life and what he did, and we'll go from there. So Robert Sandifer was 11 years old, as I said, and he was murdered by fellow gang members in Chicago. Now, this was national attention because of his age, which was, I said, 11 years old, and he was on the cover of Time magazine. He was a member of the street gang, the Black Disciples. Now, Robert's life was not an easy one. This video is about not only Robert, but Robert did commit a very heinous crime. Yummy committed a very heinous crime. And I'm going to acknowledge that and do something for the victim. Right now I'm telling you about Yummy. He was born on March 12th, 1983. And his mother had had 30 arrests as a prostitute, many of which were drug-related. His father was absent throughout his life, and he was incarcerated for a felony drug charge. Robert Yummy was physically abused almost from the time he was born. Before he was 3 years old, he was already known to the Department of Children and Family Services. This is a tough part. Physical examinations of Yummy showed that he had cigarette burns on his arms and neck, as well as bruising consistent with consistent beatings. His mother initially blamed the beatings on Robert's father, but that didn't make any sense, and she later recanted. In 1986, Robert and his siblings were removed from his mother's home by the Department of Children and Family Services, and they were sent to live with their grandmother in the Roseland neighborhood here in Chicago. Now, his grandmother's residence contained as many as 19 children. 19 in one house. And from what I've read and listened on podcasts, his grandmother's home was not much better than his previous home, and he was not treated very well there. By the age of eight, he dropped out of school and began to roam the streets, stealing cars, breaking into houses. 8 years old. At the age of 10, he was arrested on charges of armed robbery. Now, a psychological examiner at the time said that Yummy is a child growing up without any encouragement and support, and that he has a sense of failure that has infiltrated almost every aspect of his inner self. So in 1993, Yummy and his siblings were removed from his grandmother's home and were sent to the Lawrence Hall DCFS shelter. That's the Department of Children and Family Services shelter on the north side here. And that's where he ran away and never returned. So from 1993 until his death, his whereabouts and living arrangements were unknown. But he still continued to get in trouble and was continuously arrested by the authorities, but always released. I'm standing right near where Yummy is buried, right near that headstone. On August 28th, 1994, Yummy was ordered to do a favor for his gang. He opened fire several times with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol and hit several youth on the street here in Chicago. He quickly fled the scene, but among his victims was a 14-year-old girl named Siobhan Dean, and she was fatally struck by the stray bullet. So Yummy went into hiding after this, and he was staying with gang members in the neighborhood. And then, on August 31st of the same year, he was on a neighbor's porch asking them to call his grandmother. Two gang members, young themselves, 16 and 14, they were both members of the same gang, came up to him and told him that he was being taken to a safe location out of town and ordered into a waiting car. Now I'm going to take you to the location where, instead of being taken to a safe house, he was taken to a railroad underpass at East 108th Street and South Dauphin Avenue here in Chicago. He was told to get on his knees. While kneeling, Yummy was shot twice in the back of the head by the two brothers. The names are Craig and Derek Hardaway, and I believe both have been released since and show great remorse from what I've read. Early the next morning on September 1st, his body was discovered by the Chicago Police Department. In death, there were over 400 people attended his funeral, which was held at the youth center. I should add that the one brother, Derek, received a 45-year sentence, and Craig received a 60-year sentence, but both have been released. Now, when they had the funeral, they had no photo of Yummy, and they had to use his mugshot. And that's terrible. So this lady here, Barbara Harris, has no relation to Yummy. However, standing in front of her grave right here, like this, take 2 steps back, and here's where Yummy is, right here. Yes, so Yummy is directly here, in an unmarked grave. Those are the exact specific directions I was given by one of the lovely ladies at the front, and I had assumed he had a headstone after that big of a funeral, but he does not. This is where Yummy is. So Yummy's right here, right just to the left of me. This is where I'm just going to kind of talk, and I mean, it's hard to... Siobhan Dean, Yummy's victim, was only 14. Just starting her life, you know. She would have been into her 40s now. Life cut short. Who knew what Siobhan would have become? Who she would have grown up to be? And Yummy took her life. There's no getting around that. So my empathy, my sympathy goes out to the Dean family, to Siobhan's mother, Deborah, and to anyone, friends and family of Siobhan, right away, because she's the victim here. And I'm going to be going to visit Siobhan and pay my respects to her, and you'll be coming along. Now, what makes this story just hard to... Not everything is... You could be unclear on how you feel on things. This is what I think. I don't think you have to feel a certain way. I'm divided. When I hear about a 14-year-old girl being killed, if it was my daughter, my sister, my cousin, anything like that, I would, I mean, I don't know. The anger I feel, I think would be off the charts. And I think a lot of you would feel the same way. But I can't speak for Siobhan's family. I did read something that Siobhan's mother, Deborah, did say, it doesn't matter who did it, my daughter's gone. Something to that effect. So I don't know if she forgave Yummy after the fact. I'm not sure. What makes it very difficult is the age, 11 years old. If an 11-year-old who didn't grow up in that environment, it would still be difficult because 11-year-olds are not fully formed human beings, and with, they can do some stupid stuff, commit murder. I don't know. That's extreme. Join a gang, extreme. But you got to remember the circumstances and where he grew up and how. Now, when you get into the abuse, the feeling of being unwanted, the low self-esteem, the kid's living on the street for the last year of his life. He's tiny, just a tiny, with the little face that you see. It's hard not to feel empathy for him. So that's where I kind of think, some people are just going to say, it doesn't matter. He killed somebody. He deserved to die. I don't think it's as crystal clear as that. The system failed him. The Department of Children and Family Services failed him. The police who kept arresting him failed him. Now, if he went into a group home, would that have helped? If he went into a juvenile center, would that have helped? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I've never been in a juvenile hall. I don't know. Like a prison. I'm talking about before he even killed Siobhan. If this could have been, the path he was on could have been stopped. I think a juvenile prison, especially in the 90s, probably would have been worse for him. So what do you do? Now, if it was a kid who grew up with a great family, was not abused, had that family structure, felt loved, and then still went out and committed a crime like this, I don't think I'd have much sympathy. If it was 16, 15, definitely not. When you know right and wrong. 11-year-old, you do know right and wrong, but if he was 11 years old and he grew up in a great environment, I think I would be like, no, I don't have much sympathy for him. He took the life of an innocent 14-year-old. But it's everything that happened to him on the way. Everything that happened to him on the way to what he did. Cigarette burns, physically abused. God knows what else was done to this kid. So, I'm divided on how I feel about the story. I feel empathy and I feel sadness for both. And normally, if you've watched any of my videos, I have sympathy only for the victims. It breaks my heart. And this case I've known about for years now. And it's taken me a long time to be able to do it because I didn't know how I was going to do it. And it's taken me a long time just in Chicago itself this past week to put it together because of trying to get to these two graves. We're going to go visit Siobhan now and pay our respects there. Let's go back here for a moment. There's a lot I wanted to say. I don't know if I've said it all. I mean, I'm standing here in Chicago looking at the grave, the unmarked grave of an 11-year-old boy. He's not forgotten. There's, you can look stuff up about him on the internet, but I mean, take a look around. Kind of just like in life, he disappeared. And I'm not sure how to leave this grave because it's, just not sure how to leave it when it's. I don't know if I've said the right things. I don't know if I've done the right thing. But I don't know if I've said the right things. I don't know. It's a very, very sad, emotional case for all the families involved. I'm sure Yummy's family, I don't know what happened to the rest of his siblings. I don't know. I don't know if his mother is still alive, but he's just here. If you're coming, you just go to the Good Shepherd section right by this mausoleum. Look for Barbara Harris, and that's where you'll find Yummy. Now we got to go south, and we're going to visit Siobhan. It's okay, I think, to have conflicting feelings. Not everything has to be, like I said, one way or the other, black or white. You have to make a decision. There's gray areas to everything. Not everything. I spoke too soon. But for something like this, I think there can be some empathy and sadness for both. That's what I wrestled with the most. I like telling stories like this. I was about to say I enjoy, but I like bringing these stories to people and to my viewers, and they're tough. They're tough to get through sometimes for me, you know. But I don't say that I'm looking for, not at all. I'm not looking for any sort of sympathy or like, no, I don't mean like that. I just mean like some people have said, like, you know, if you can't handle it, why do you do it? I've got that a long time ago. I always say I can handle it. I can handle it. But when you get to these places, it could be a little tougher than you think just to do it. But I can do them. And this is the story that was very, very important for me to tell and to come see where it happened, see the resting places of both. And I don't know, I'm rambling because I feel like I haven't said enough, but maybe I have, and I'm sure everybody will have opinions in the comments. Just like I said, be respectful and think about the ages of both involved. Think about the environment that Yummy grew up in, and think about a child at 6 years old with cigarette burns and being beaten daily, and turns to a gang that shows him family, that shows him, you know, what he's lacking, what he was looking for. And that's not good, you know, to get that from a gang, obviously. If he had just joined a gang willingly, like I said, at a later age or something, it would be different. But you got to remember the environment. You got to remember where Yummy grew up, and I don't think he had much choice. He was beaten down before he was born. He didn't have a shot. I'm going to take you to that railway pass now. It has been sealed up. It was known as a particularly dangerous one for people to pass through back then in the 90s. So it was sealed up sometime in the 90s. But I'm going to take you to where it happened, and we can see what's left there. Example of what they used to look like somewhat, but now they've built the walkways to the left through those white pillars. But it's kind of like this. These are the underground passings to get for pedestrians and for cars. But I believe the one where Yummy was murdered was just for pedestrians to cross. exact location right here. We're at South Dauphin Avenue, east of 108th Street, and there used to be an underpass. This rail underneath the train tracks here. Up and down the street I was driving, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. This is the exact one, but you can see kind of where it was filled in. But this is the exact location where Yummy was killed, right here. So you can see that would have been the entranceway right there. And it was very dark. Looks like there's even some parts left over. And just right there is where it would have been. And down that road, and even up there, there's another, well, here comes a train right now, or some sort of thing going across. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a couple of underground, like, you know, passageways, but they filled this in the mid-90s. But here's where it was. Never would have known there was one here, really. But extensive research online. They filled it in. It was known as one of the most dangerous underground tunnels, underground passageways in Chicago in the 90s and 80s. And from what I gather, it was around 96, 97 that it was filled in. But you can actually even see, it's going to be hard for you to see, but you see where I'm pointing right there, those leaves going across, there's an indentation there. Looks like just about the right height. And even up there, more of an indentation. Yeah, looks like that's built to kind of keep the rocks from falling, I guess. I'm not sure. But even there, oh yeah, you can see an indentation. Let me go closer. Yeah, right there, just above those bushes right there, excuse my finger, there would have been, you see the indentation. So it's more here. Yeah. Where they filled it in. And the rocks all swoop in a little bit here on either side. So yeah, right behind me, just past that stop sign, right down there. That's where the underground tunnel was, or the underground passway. I'm not sure what the walkway where Yummy was taken and executed. Put up against the wall, shot twice. Wow. Best I can do. And if they do eventually blow away, they'll blow away onto other people's graves, and that's fine. Because everybody here deserves flowers or something. Siobhan L. Dean Jones, beloved daughter and sister. November 21st, 1979 to August 28th, 1994. Almost made it to 15. that's my visit to Siobhan. That she is right there. Those group of flowers right there. And the end of the video. Yeah. Rest in peace, Siobhan. Hope your mother has found peace as well, somewhat. And yeah. Peace out. So I'm back again, and I decided to leave something, and it's a car that says rescue on it. This little Hot Wheels I picked up. It does blend in with the grass. It's for Yummy. I don't know how many toys he got in life. I'm going to put it right here beside Barbara's grave for Yummy. And Barbara was a beloved wife, mother, and grandmother. And I like to think maybe she's looking out for Yummy.